Hi, good afternoon, or whenever it is that you are watching this. Welcome to Lip Out with Latona. I am your host, creator, originator, whatever you want to call it. My name is Stacy Latona. And the reason for this lovely little podcast is to demystify golf for women. Not that we're all confused, but even to this day, there's a lot of stuff I need to know. And it's more of a movement. And I'll tell you a little bit about what I'm planning on doing over the course of the next, who knows how long, but for as long as I can possibly think of, I want to be doing this to help women grow in this sport. I think it's important to start a movement, really, to grow the game of golf for women. And there's a lot of reasons for that. There's so much business that gets done on a golf course. It's unbelievable. I mean, there are 80 million golfers in the United States, and we only make up about 20%, roughly. It depends on which stats you're looking at, but that's not enough. And I understand, and I'm going to give you a little bit of my background in a minute. I understand why we're not on the course more. I understand the intimidation factors. And some of it has to do with fear, which is false evidence, right? Appearing real. It's not a real thing. And I think it's important to do things that scare you too, because it allows for growth. So to me, the game of golf has taken on so many different meanings. So again, I think most podcasts should have a certain service to them. So from that perspective, what I'm trying to do is I want to take out, as I had mentioned, the intimidation factor. I want to talk to you about things that you should know about the game. I'm going to have interviews with people that are in the game, hopefully some LPGA golfers, which is the ladies PGA tour, if you're not familiar. And also, I work in the golf industry, and my boss, who is a couple-time All-American from college golfer, who is very good, very knowledgeable in everything related to golf, and I've been golfing with him. And let me tell you, I wouldn't have done that a few years ago. So, like, that's part of it for me, helping you understand the game. And also, you know what? I want to work on golf courses. I want to say to them, and it will have maybe some, club presidents come on and go, look, I understand that women are invited there. And there was only, gosh, in 2012, there were still like 24 golf courses or something like that across the United States that didn't allow women. So there's a reason that we feel that way, right? And if you've ever have been golfing and you're kind of newer to it, you have all these things like, well, there's people that are kind of, you got to go fast with it. You're worried about the people behind you. You're worried about the people in front of you. How are the people around you gonna? There's so much. It doesn't need to be that way. I mean, alcohol always helps, but that's a whole nother version of things we're going to talk about. So I think that, not to mention, by the way, the fashion is horrid, but I'm working on that for you too. Okay, so you just hang in on that. I'm going to help with that situation. But I think that we need to start having that conversation, not only with women and helping them understand and get on the course, but with club presidents so they understand our intimidation fears or factors, so that there is more of a welcoming environment. And they need to know that, because they need to be knowledgeable too. It's just like there's a lot of movements going on. Might be way more important than getting more women golfing. But for me, this is my passion now. So let me take you back for a second. I was actually, I work for a PGA tournament. And at this moment, it's in the Detroit area. In this moment, I'm not going to announce what that is. I just don't know what the legalities of that are. But I love my job. I'm a director of sales. And I had golfed here and there, just like a lot of women, when they're like, oh, everyone seems to be getting out of work. I might want to go golf. So I got some clubs about 20 years ago, and I would golf once a year, never practiced. It was sort of like, gosh, this it isn't is I don't know how to do it, or I feel intimidated right away. It's not it's always been kind of fun, but you have your moments where you're like, oh, why am I doing this? And you just kind of will avoid going out at other times. And I think that after golfing for about maybe once a year for 20 years, it started to get to the point where I felt as though, I'm athletic, but you don't have to be athletic. That's what's cool about golf. What I like about that. You can be the best athlete in the world and still not be good at golf. And we've seen a lot of those things happen on television. So I kind of felt like after a while that I might just put the clubs away. And then all of a sudden, I got offered an opportunity to interview for a job to be a director of sales for a PGA tournament. Been in sales my whole life, but I wasn't sure. I was nervous. And again, I'm one of these people that I'm like, if it doesn't scare you, then I'm not growing. So I need to attempt to get this job. So long and short of it is I get it. Shortly into having the position, they say, we have an opportunity for you to go represent our company with a couple other people that worked in the company. Two other gentlemen. It's always a lot of guys. You're going to find that whenever you're on the course, just get used to it. But we're going to work on that too, making sure there's more women events. Um, so they're like, okay, you can go and be in this pro-am. I'm like, well, what's a pro-am? So again, I'm going to help you as we go along. I'm going to, explain what things are. So a pro-am is when there's a professional and an amateur, right? That's going to go and golf together all day. Seems simple. Now, the one I was in was a championship one, which basically means the guy's played in the PGA. He's a little bit older now, so he could go back if he qualifies, but they're more so just on the circuit, keep playing, and they're on this kind of an older, they call it the Champions Tour, right? Retired. So I end up getting paired with Rocco Mediate, which you probably, if you're not into golf, you don't know who that is, but he was pretty good back in the day. I mean, he went toe to toe with Tiger Woods, on a very big tournament. So I get there, and I got to be honest with you, I don't even know how I got through it without vomiting first, because I played a little bit more since getting the position. But again, I was very fearful. I mean, I was visualizing all night, but I was not going to allow my fear to keep me from being on that course, dealing with those guys, making business connections, and enjoying my day, right? So, you get out there, you have to tee off in front of everybody. There are people watching, they announce your name. I mean, it's kind of a big deal. The course is like the best it's ever been. And one of the people you're playing with is a professional. So it's very intimidating, very scary. The long and short of it is, it ended up being a phenomenal day. Somehow I rose to the occasion. I did not embarrass myself. Certainly many occasions I could have, but here's the deal, ladies. You just pick up your ball. If you're having an issue, you pick up your ball. Fortunately and unfortunately, you're not held to quite the same standard in some cases. Our T markers we get to go up a little bit farther. So sometimes that can actually be a benefit. And I'll be honest with you, this is the honest to God's truth. We used two of my balls. So we were playing, and we'll get into this later, a certain way of play, given that it was to move along faster. And the best shot they used, and then we all hit from there. So we used two of my balls. So it must not have been that bad, right? So anyway, I think that's what we're going to do here. I'm going to give you experiences, things that have happened. We're going to do some interviews with people, talk about women on the golf course, what's some things that we can do, how do we learn. Here's a real quick lip out by Latona. You might not even know what the heck is lip out. I just learned this year what that term meant. And basically what it means is that when you putt and the ball goes to the hole when you're putting and you're on the green, and that's called the green, that part, it hits the cup, right? But it kind of goes around the rim, shoots out the other side. It lips out, goes over the lip, lips out. And I choose to look at that as I'm changing direction. I'm living on the edge, right? So whatever it is in golf, you got to learn to turn the negatives into a positive. Otherwise, you may never go out there. So just a couple of things I'm going to leave you with on this first podcast. You may think that you're not going to be good at it, and most of us in the beginning aren't. And usually, for most of our careers in golf, we're not great. There's a few really good golfers, and if you get a lot of lessons, you certainly can get better, and that's part of it. It's something you can do for your whole life, right? And continuing to improve. But there's a lot of male golfers that aren't any good either. That's what I learned, right? A lot of people aren't good. They may hit it farther, but 99.9% of the time, because it's farther, you're taking more time to look for their ball because it's off in the who knows where. And at least with us, we kind of get a gauge on where it is so we can find it a little faster. So it's a little positive as well. So again, guys, I just want to thank you for checking in quickly for our first Lip Out with Latona. And we're going to continue to take the intimidation factor out of golf for women everywhere. Looking forward to you coming back and seeing some of my guests that I'm going to have, and they're going to be great. I promise you that. We're going to learn a lot together, and we're going to keep moving with this movement and start some kind of cool hashtags like hashtag invite her to play. And by the way, ladies, we got to start saying yes. Regardless, you got to start saying yes. We'll talk about the clubs. What's the best thing for you? So I'm going to say, please, if you could go to Instagram and like my page and kind of follow along, I'll do some things there. Again, Lip Out, that's Lip Out with Latona. You'll be able to find me. Subscribe, please, again, and maybe share it with some people so we can make our movement even bigger. And like it. I would certainly appreciate that. So thank you so much again for joining me in my first Lip Out with Latona, and let the revolution begin. Thanks, guys.